Alright, hello everyone and welcome back for another edition of me unplugging my controller because I'm a dummy. Base review in Providence Ridge. We are here at Prescott Fire Station and I have already cleared it so that you don't have to watch me pick off these little annoyances. Okay, he's done talking. Alright, Prescott Fire Station, a ruined firehouse that we could quickly restore to its former existence as a top-notch base of operations. Now, what makes Providence Ridge unique is there are no six-man bases. You go straight from the starter base to the two four-man bases. So you've got Rusty Rosie's, and you have where we're at. Always almost said Mike's Concrete. I mean, it's very similar, but Weston Builder Supply. Now, outside of those two bases, you have Prescott Fire Station and Lundegard Lumber Mill, both of which are 8-man bases. So there are no sixes on this map. You've only got early game and late game, and as we saw, both of these are kind of different. This one has more stuff built into it. This one is more just to figure it out how you want to kind of deal. So let's see how the two 8-man bases stack up next to one another as well. But anyways, this is an 8-man 3500 influence base. Everyone wants to keep talking. Quit talking. I don't care. It comes with firefighter bunks, which provides 2 beds, a firehouse kitchen, which I'm pretty sure is the same as a level 2 kitchen. Maybe a 1.5. It might have some of the perks of a 2, but not quite be a 2. And it also does give you a little bit of food storage on top of that. You have emergency services training, which works as a fighting gym, which is quite handy. Then here is one of the things that could be useful for you, especially in a earlier playthrough, but we'll talk about it a little bit more in depth during the review. But it is a utility room that provides base-wide power when fueled up, consumes some fuel and making negligible noise, provides water when the pump is on. So it's obvious it would provide water and power, but there you go. Then it has a sheltered beds. We will probably clear those. 4 parking spaces, a scout tower that supports 3 armed guards, and no ammo cost to maintain it. It increases the safe zone for our base, and we have to have someone with a gun. The firehouse workshop crafts consumables, equipments. I'm not going to read all that. It is the same as a level 3 workshop. It's just already built in. Now, usually when I claim these bases, I go straight to working on them. But this one, with all of these built-ins, I'm just going to bring you with me through the black screen so that we can take a look at what needs to be repaired and what is actually built in from the start, because it's quite a bit in this specific base. Okay, so up here you can see our 4 parking slots. Then in the top right corner you have a scout tower that has to be repaired, so we will knock that out. Then over here on this far right side you have both the emergency services training and the kitchen and the firefighter bunks, all of which we have to start repairing. So off we go. Then down along this bottom stretch you have the latrine that it comes with. It has the firehouse workshop, you don't have to fix that, and then the utility room that you have to fix. And the storage is standard. And we will tear this down. Okay. But that is the gist for all of the built-ins that have to be repaired. I am going to go ahead and jump cut it to when I have the base built up for you. So Alright, welcome back everyone. I've got the base built up. Once again, we're here at Prescott Fire Station. It is a pretty unique base to say the least. It's been a minute since I have played here, so I forgot just how much was actually built into this base. So let's start out with, we'll just start with location. So, like all of these bases, essentially, there is no middle ground where it's nice and centered to everything. However, this base being in the bottom left-hand corner, it is in one of the higher density zones, which also means that there is a lot of lootables. I haven't even shown everything, and you have the police station, you have a pharmacy, you have a chicken shack, you have a tartan mart. This is a Big Daddy auto repair where that plague heart was. That's good for toolkits. You've got fuel right here. You've got knick-knack houses all throughout over here, and even some over here, as well as a cell tower nearby, which is very good for your radio cooldowns if you claim it as an outpost. And then it's just a short drive away from over here by Lundegard, where you can get even more loot. And this is also where the bulk of the plague hearts tend to sit, stereotypically, is down in this bottom area. So that's it for location. It is kind of far from everything, but if you follow the standard path of beginning of the game to early/mid game, you're probably going to end up with Weston or Rusty Rosies, which means you're probably going to try and beat up these plague hearts first, which means you will clear out the top portion just right at the beginning. Now for that part, I'd say Rusty Rosies is probably the better location just for ease of traveling for the beginning of the game, because you're going to have some over here, and then you're going to have them here and over here where these two plague hearts are. Because I know there's usually one right here, there's usually one right here, and then there's usually at least one up here, if not two. And then there can be 2 or 3 kinda in this area. And then of course there can always be stray plague hearts somewhere in between. And then down here is where it starts to intensify and you get a bunch of them. So if you follow the standard path, starting at Rosie's will probably give you the best way to clear the top. And then for the bottom in the end game, it is kind of your choice. Now, that being said, I told you we would go over some of the built-ins and what they have to do with what your in-game run could be like. So let's go ahead and get started on the base. As you can see, I am running my double stills. Once again, I am crafting beer because we need more influence to get into Lundegard, into the other 8-man base, because they do cost 3,500 each, so they're quite expensive. That being said, we just ran all of our stuff to get our morale up, and as you can tell, we are maxed. I mean, we beat the blood plague. Everybody likes all this neat stuff. We got cleaning toilets going. We've got our lounge doing a game tourney. We have a white noise machine somewhere, but we'll get into that a little bit more detailed. As I said, it has 4 parking spots, which is good. I like to collect cars, who doesn't? But up in this top right corner, that scout tower that we built, it is 3 armed guards with no cost. That no cost is amazing, because I've noticed as I've been doing this review run that a lot of these built-ins actually cost you something, which can be quite annoying because you didn't build it, you didn't choose to put it there. Why do you have to pay extra stuff for it? So the fact that this does not have that is fantastic. It also unlocks Rooftop Recon, which will essentially scout out all the different enemies on your mini-map. It's like having a scouting, just a call-in. It only costs 50 influence to run on standard. I think it's 100 or 150 on lethal, if I'm not mistaken. But for a built-in, because there's so many of them, because this has so many small slots that have items in them, is pretty good. And you can also do suppressive fire, which on update 33 will reduce infestation spread and growth. So it'll essentially just slow down them being annoying. Now moving on down, we have emergency services training. Now this was actually upgradable once I got it repaired. So without upgrading it, it is like a level 1.5 fighting gym. And then once you upgrade it, it goes to a full level 2 because you can start doing the cardio training. The endurance, medicine, and fighting were just standard. But like I said, you upgrade it. You don't need a warlord to upgrade it either. So that's also pretty awesome. And then if you look at it, it doesn't cost us anything. We have no material loss, which you typically would have in a fighting gym level 2. And then on top of that, an extra item that it gives you on top of the plus 20% or 20 max health. Gosh, I just had coffee, so I'm a little bit fast on my talking. Let me slow down. On top of the 20 max health, you also get EMT supplies, which will passive heal injuries so long as you have meds in storage. So pretty awesome little built-in. Next, you have the firehouse kitchen. This was another one of the broken items. It looks like a level 1 to me, but it does give you an extra plus 10 to your max food storage, which can be handy, especially if you do the kind of gaming that I do, or you like to run these stills. It lets you stockpile the food a little bit higher so that you can... I'll go ahead and upgrade that while we're talking. But it'll let you get more food so that you can craft more beer. I did throw a countertop oven in here and used it for the quick morale boost. That way I could show you the plus 100 morale just for gets and shiggles. Then right below it, we have the firefighter bunks. It just gives you 4 beds. There's no upgrading. I threw a white noise machine in it, so I get a plus 10 morale for that. Pretty awesome just for the, the mod slot. I don't like to build beds, but if you give me beds passively, then I'm not going to complain whatsoever. Moving on, we have the station bathroom. If you have knowledge of plumbing, you do get a plus 10 morale, and I guess I do have someone with plumbing. Do I have someone? I do. Oh yeah, that's right. I imported her in one of our previous runs just so that we could see the difference in it. She has the broken fighting skill too. She was just literally there to show us what plumbing can do. But you get a plus 10 morale for the plumbing, and then you can do clean the toilets, which will give you another plus 10. Again, I don't usually build latrines unless it's the beginning of the game and my morale is being punished. But, I mean, it's already here and we have enough slots to get what we want, so, you know, why not? Then the storage, as you can tell, I am upgrading it to level 3, so it was just a standard storage. There's nothing magical about it, unlike at Weston Builder Supply where you get the massive storage. Moving down to the firehouse workshop, like I said, it is like having a level 3, but it does come with some extra perks. So you get a minus 15% to parts cost, which is pretty neat. That means repairing your weapons and such will cost 15% less, and I believe it also counts towards, yes, so anything that you craft here also costs 15% less parts. So that's a pretty neat little add-on as well. And then on top of that, if you have electricity, you get construction tools, which gives you a plus 25% build action speed. And then from there, it does all of the other stuff. It costs no materials. It actually adds one per day, so long as you have electricity. And then I plugged in a salvage furnace as usual, which does cost me the 1 fuel per day, but I am fine with that, so that we can get some extra parts when we do break stuff down. So I very much like that built in. Now, we're going to skip this for the moment. We'll come back to it at the end, as it will determine whether this base is going to be the top base on this map or the second base map on, or yeah, second best base on this map. Gosh, I shouldn't have drank so much coffee. Now, over here, I forgot to upgrade this. We have our infirmary. I am going to run it up to level 2, but not level 3. The only time I do level 3 is when I'm doing strong painkillers, but there's nothing magical about it, and since I beat up on the plague heart, I threw a sanitizing machine. Yeah, I just threw that in there because why not? We don't need to make the casts because this will take care of our injuries, so we don't have to worry about it so much. Outside, I did my double stills as I said at the beginning. Now, you could get rid of one of these stills and put something else in, like a shooting range, and you could get your plus 20 stamina off of that and still have a still to make money. I mean, that's the dealer's choice. You don't have to put stills at all. You can put double gardens or whatever you want to do, but this is what I stereotypically do when I'm here, because as you can see, I'm spamming the craft beer so that I can get as much as possible so I can start using the trade depot. My favorite little thing to have. It lets me call in my traders so that I can make influence, so that I can move into the expensive base, so that I can show you guys the expensive base. That's pretty simple. And on top of that, it will let me replenish my food because I'll get 3 rucksacks from the trader. And then if I needed any other supplies or random items like vehicle upgrades, some of the lesser mods, stuff like that, I can just call in the traders and get those, which is quite handy. And then my other large slot is my lounge level 2. It gives me a plus 2 beds, plus 3 morale as a place to relax, and a plus 3 with reruns because I have electricity. If you have knowledge of arts, it will give you a plus 5, but that's not really worth chasing because having knowledge of arts tends to just kind of waste a community slot with that 5th skill in a higher difficulty. Now, as I always say, on standard or green or even dread, that's not really so much of a big deal, as none of those have just a ton of difficulty to them. I mean, I sped ran the vast majority of these plague hearts in like 10 minutes. So, I mean, if you want someone with knowledge of arts just to have it, you can. Plugged my Xbox in it and did a game tourney. It does give you a 15 morale for 1 hour. So, I mean, it's a pretty long bump in your morale for doing that. And yeah, in the next base, I will rank this up to level 3 so that you guys can see what a level 3 lounge looks like. Because not everyone has seen one. Actually, we're going to build a bunch of large facilities. It's going to take me a while to build up Lundegard when I get there. But overall, this is a kind of neat base. It's an extremely neat base, honestly. Especially if this is an earlier playthrough or if you're running without boons. So if you don't have your amenities boon that gives you both electricity and water, this might be the end-game base for you because of this utility room. So with this utility room, you get the ability to have power and water. And if you have power, you get a plus 5 morale, and water is another plus 1 morale, so a plus 6 for everybody. Now it will cost you... Be quiet. Be quiet. No. Anyways, it will cost 1 fuel per day, so you do have to keep your fuel in storage, but hopefully by the time you move into this base, you've got your supplies sorted out. And if not, then you can use that magical trade depot to make sure that you have plenty of fuel. Now, the water, it's just a button that you click. If you have utilities, it obviously gives you a bonus. I don't know what that bonus honestly is. I think it gives you an extra 30 minutes. I have no idea. But you just press the button and you're gathering water. So you can get both your electricity and your water out of this one little built-in, and that means that you don't have to use your outpost slots if you're wanting both items. Now, water you don't particularly have to have, because the stills you can collect water with. So, I mean, we'll just collect even more water. We're going to build a swimming pool at this point. If that one wasn't crafting beer, I would run it too. So, the water aspect, not such a big deal, and it doesn't really do a ton outside of morale, honestly. But the electricity is fantastic, because it's like 1,000 influence for a outpost with electricity on the lethal zone, and here you have it built in. And on top of that, using that outpost slot takes away an outpost slot that you could use for food, because you eat just stupendous amounts of food in the lethal zone. So if you don't have your boons, this could be an awesome, awesome, awesome base for you. It's not crazy customizable, and it doesn't have just a ton of large slots, but overall, it would be an amazing in-game base. Actually, I think when I first played Providence Ridge, when I had no amenities, this is the base I finished it off in, and I enjoyed it pretty thoroughly. I mean, it's hard not to when you have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? Is that right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, sorry. 10 small slots. Now, only 3 of them are buildable, but what do I always say you need? You need a gym, a workshop, and an infirmary. I've still got double stills. I had my electricity and water. I had a toilet just to give me some extra influence for nothing. I had beds that prevented an influence loss and let me plug in a mod, a kitchen that I honestly never used a single time, because I don't like the rationing, and that seems to be everyone's favorite thing about the kitchen, because, yeah, I mean, the feast is alright, it gives you stamina and morale, that's pretty cool, but it seems like most of the people I've talked to use the rationing, and I would rather just claim outposts rather than do that. I don't want to take a morale hit when I'm in a high difficulty, because you take a high morale hit just from being in a higher difficulty. Being in nightmare, well, kind of nightmare, but being in lethal zone, you take a pretty substantial hit in your morale. And on top of that, hopefully by the time you're in an 8-man 3,500 influence base, you've got your food sorted out. I surely hope you do, and if you don't, then screw the stills, just put the gardens in a hydroponics in, and don't touch the rationing button, please. The morale is not worth it. But, I mean, the gym is something that we needed, and then the scout tower is just kind of like a cherry on top. It's pretty neat, and it does give us rooftop recon for when we're finishing up the Blood Plague. So, I mean, this is a pretty awesome base, honestly. I quite like it. We're going to look at Lundegard next. That will be our final base, obviously, on this map. And we'll kind of compare the two and see what might be a better fit for you and for me. It is kind of a dealer's choice. This one obviously has a ton of built-in, so it's not super customizable. And if it's anything like Rusty Rosie's and Weston Builder, I'm going to imagine that we're going to find that same thing in Lundegard. But that is the end of our quick little review. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like and subscribe. It does wonders for the algorithm and for making sure my videos get out there to other like-minded individuals. If you have any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts, please leave them in the comment section. I do try very hard to respond to anyone and everyone that leaves a comment, because I like hearing from you guys. It means a lot that y'all take the time out of your day to watch these videos and then to comment on them down below. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you all and your time on this video. As always, I'm the ADHD Gamer, and I will see you in the next one.